Having a YouTube channel can open you up to criticism and comments and people feeling like they can make judgments about the way you live or the way you handle your money. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and I'm actually going to give you a little bit of statistics that you might find interesting. I hope you will stick around for this video. Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. I live in Kansas on a farm and I have a donkey. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. So I've commented in my videos a couple of times here and there that my husband and I keep our finances separate. And you would not believe some of the people that really get twisted up over that. I've been told that it is appalling. I've been told that it's sad. I've been told that we are living like we are roommates. And I just wanted to comment on some of that today to maybe give a little bit of food for thought. The University of Georgia did a recent survey to see how couples that are in committed relationships and are married keep their finances. And would you believe that 62% of married couples actually keep some form of their money separate from their partner? So this is more common than we even realize in 2025. A lot of people know that I am old-fashioned. I do a lot of old-fashioned things. But when we began discussing that we were going to get married at the age of 47, I still had two kids in college. I still had a 14-year-old at home. He had a grown set of daughters, and I didn't feel like it's his responsibility to pay to put my kids through college or help raise my 14-year-old. So I felt we should keep our money separate. I had a lot of issues in my past marriage of money being spent that was not discussed, and it put us in financial hardship so many times. And I didn't want to feel like that in this marriage. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be in control of my own money and my own decisions. We still discuss some things. Even if we're spending our own money, we'll say, what do you think of this? But we still have that final decision on how we spend our money. We are responsible adults. We decide how our money is going to be spent, and then we make sure that our obligations to one another is taken care of when it comes to the minimal type of money that we split among our household. We have an internet bill, we have two TV subscriptions, and we have an electric bill that we split. In the winter, we will split the propane. Other than that, we have nothing else to pay for in this house. It is very, very cheap to live where I am. He moved in with me. This is my home. I take care of renovations. I take care of the property taxes. So this is the way we have done it. Now, if you think that that sounds strange, let me tell you that even if you go and get married today, you will meet with a minister. And a lot of times you'll have to have counseling on how you're going to take care of your finances so there are less disputes over the money. By doing this, we have no arguments over money. Zero. How many couples can say that? So out of that 62%, 34% have a partial combination, his and hers and ours. That's actually where we fall into. We have a savings account from the business that we ran together for 7.5 years. And when we sold that business, it went into an hours account. The hours account, we talk about how we're going to use that money. and we have it set back for like retirement or vacations or things that we mutually agree on. But we also have his and hers, and those are completely separate from the hours. The hours we did together. It also says that 27% keep their money completely separate from one another. So, what are some reasons for doing this? I can tell you what our reasons were. When you are getting married later in life, by the time we were 47, we've already had kids. We already have some assets. We may already come to the marriage with some debt, and maybe the other one doesn't want to be responsible for that debt. So there's lots of reasons why couples might do this going into a marriage so that one doesn't pay the other one's debt, and so the other one doesn't take control of the other one's assets that this person has worked so hard to gain. And no one goes into marriage thinking, oh, I'm going to get a divorce. No one goes into that thinking that, but divorces do happen. So these are things that we thought about going into this with adult children. Sometimes you have adult children that are like, Mom, are you sure you want to do this? Dad, are you sure you want to do this? And this also helps combine those families peacefully. So it avoids arguments, it helps separate debts and assets, and it helps build financial security for each person because they're responsible for their own and they're not relying on the other person to carry them through. This can be based on income. Sometimes things aren't split 50-50. Sometimes they're 60-40 or 70-30. If the couple decides to do that, maybe somebody has a really big income and the other person has a very small income, which is what happened when we first got married. I had the large income, he had the little income. And now he has the large income and I have the little income. So sometimes people do things that way to make them split more economically for the couple, and that is totally their choice. Sometimes someone comes to the marriage with more net worth than the other person, and that is something that we all have to take into consideration. Not only is marriage a combining of your families, but it's also a combining of the history you have, whatever type that is, financial or otherwise, that you bring to that union. And a lot of this just has to do with individual preference, and it has to do with experiences that we've had prior to this relationship. I had a really bad experience prior to this relationship, and I did not want to be there again. So I made sure that I couldn't be there again. We've all seen the movies where like the 80-year-old marries like the 24-year-old, and then they kick the can and the 24-year-old gets everything and his kids are mad, right? But I've also seen two 20-something-year-olds get married where one of them came to the marriage with $60,000 in debt. Sometimes we feel uncomfortable talking about these things when we're in a relationship or when we're dating someone, but these are important things to discuss because even though we're young, we might not know the history that comes with this person, whether it's their spending habits, their saving habits, or a mountain of debt. Sometimes even the history of how the person was raised can affect how they view money, what they choose to spend on, and whether or not they are able to save money. So history plays into this a lot. Love is wonderful. You can love them inside and out. But sometimes money can cause a lot of problems in relationships. And this is some of the reasons why some people choose to keep their money separate and maintain their financial independence, even from a committed partner. A partner could come with a poor credit score that you knew nothing about, or they could come with child support that they don't want to dump on their partner, or they may come with some serious financial mistakes like bankruptcy. So many of these factors, and I'm sure I have not touched on all of them, influence whether or not a couple decides to put their money together or not put their money together. Even in homes where families put their money together, there's usually one person that's kind of controlling the money, one person that is making sure the bills are paid, one person that is making sure that the bills stay where they need to stay and try to keep things balanced and budgeted so they can afford everything. Every now and then you get those special couples where they discuss things together, but in a lot of homes, one person handles all of those financial day to day things that happen. And some may say, you have a YouTube channel, that's just part of it. And it is just part of it. But if people are rude, if people are all caps telling me that I'm not doing something right, I am going to hide that user from the channel. I don't need that daily negativity, and I don't need that being pushed onto the other people that want to make respectful comments. I want this to be a peaceful place to come, a place where people can come and make respectful comments and have good conversation and really learn something or share something that someone else can learn on this channel. So there is my take on how some of these things are done in our home, but also they're not up for discussion. I'm not going to change my mind on how I'm doing things, and I'm probably not going to change your mind on how you're doing things when it comes to how you are handling your finances behind closed doors. So if you want to drop a comment below, please do that. But I just wanted to share this, that it's not that unusual. This is 2025. Women are independent of men and vice versa. And I think it brings a lot more respect to the relationship when it is handled in this manner. But again, that is my opinion. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for listening. I always appreciate the time you spend with me, and I hope to see you in the next video.